Hello everyone, I am Abhishek Chaudhary from the Times of India, and you're watching this very special interview that we are doing on the Times of India's online platform. And we are going to be speaking to two people that I would say have really got the community polarized. So either you love them or you hate them. I don't think there is a middle path, and both of them will also agree. First, I will introduce Nawab Shafat Ali Khan Saab. Welcome, sir. And
Thank you.
yes, and his son Asghar Ali Khan. Thank you so much, Asghar ji.
Good evening.
Good
Most
evening.
welcome.
So, for the uninitiated, let me just have a small intro for both of them. So, these two gentlemen are basically what they're right now known for is for handling problem tigers. They have done many more things, but right now, why their names are being discussed is basically we have all heard about Avni, the tigress who was there in Maharashtra in Yavatmal district. And about a couple of years ago, there were incidents of human kills happening in that area, and ultimately the government of Maharashtra invited Nawab Shafat Ali Khan and Asghar Ali Khan to come and handle the problem tigress, which they did. And after that, I think what started was a series of court cases, a lot of controversies, but we'll get to all of that. For now, the reason we are doing this is because on the 2nd of November is the day when the problem tigress Avni was, shot dead. But on that particular day, on November 2nd, both the senior Shafat Ali Khan Saab and his son Asghar have been invited to that same village by villagers, and there a marble plaque will be put up to remember the victims, the human victims of the tigress, and they will be there and they will be felicitated by the villagers as well. So that event itself is already creating a lot of controversy. But first, we'll start off with Nawab Saab's view on.
You see, I chose a line as purely as a social service to help those poor people who don't get help from any quarters. And I was born with a silver spoon. I chose a profession where I could go into the remotest parts of the country and help those downtrodden and poor people whose voice never surfaces. And in this field, having completed 40 years and having done more than 100 operations, specifically on the orders of the government, I have come to realize that healthy controversy is a part of life and we take it in our stride. Basically, I have nothing against those people who accuse us of killing animals. Because one thing is very clear, I am not the deciding factor whether an animal is to be killed or not. The government, the chief wildlife warden of the state who has statutory powers under the Wildlife Protection Act, they take a considered a decision whether a tiger or any other animal is to be caged, trapped, tranquilized, or as a last resort shot. So my job is that of a hangman. When we have been ordered to capture a tiger, we do all that we possibly can because the experience that I have, the equipment that I have, my tranquilizing equipment, my vehicles, my off-roading capacities, neither the government of India nor any state government in the country has that because of my passion to work. Passion to work is different from learning in a classroom. So with this, I have learned to sort of live with it. And I don't honestly bother about controversies and people what they talk about.
I want to get Asghar ji's view on this. and I'm sure you must have read all the nice things that have been said about you and your father as well. So do you take it personally? Do you feel like, Arey, it's not worth all this headache? If people are going to say so many things, why take this up? Let it be. What goes on through your mind?
We have a specific objective behind these operations. Our ultimate goal is to improve India's wildlife management. The people who are not connected with it, or some people from the cities who don't know the ground realities, what they say to us, it does not matter much, because we have a macro issue to deal with. Eliminating an animal is not what is important. We have to make sure that next time something like that does not happen. So, right from the government of India, the policies, that is all those things which are more important for us. Why does a situation like this arise? How do we avoid it next time? Those are the things we work on. It's not one particular animal that is so important. It is that issue should not repeat again. How do we make sure those things are done? That is an important issue which we are working on.
You see, when I was called to Yavatmal for the first time by the chief conservator of forest there, 10 human killings had already happened, and 12 failed tranquilizing attempts had already happened. So in the case of a man-eater, elusive man-eater, every failure of ours is a learning lesson for the tiger. So what happens is, during this process, these tigers become extremely intelligent, elusive. They know what a machan is. They know what a bait is. They know the firing range of a dart gun, because they have been fired so many times. So they avoid all this. And finally, when everything else fails and when we are called, I have to start afresh from the beginning. Setting up camera traps, realigning cages, all those things has to be started from A. So this was the situation when we were called. 10 people had already died. And by the time orders came, the very next day, the honorable court stayed those orders. So again, for another 4 months, we had only orders to tranquilize and not to shoot. And during that interim period, another 4 innocent lives were lost. Then again, shoot orders were issued, which were upheld by the Honorable Court and also the Supreme Court. And then we were once again introduced into the operation. And by then, things had gone out of hand. Panchayats had passed resolutions not to allow forest and police department people to come into their jurisdiction. So all this had happened, a lot of water had flown under the bridge, and it was very, very difficult for us to coordinate everything. The officers, there were 200 people placed there, media, and with all this, it was extremely difficult. And finally, at the end of the day, was the conspiracy where urine was brought and sprinkled, and the entire operation went out of hand. So this was the situation.
Yes. So when you go on 2nd of November to Yavatmal, so what will you be telling the villagers now? I mean, will you be talking about how to handle man-animal conflict?
You see, basically, there is something very much wrong with our system, which has to be addressed. And the sooner it's addressed, the better it is, in the interest of wildlife. There are 2 things I would like to say here. The Constitution of India, Article 21, says right to life. All of us have a fundamental right to live. And the Honorable Supreme Court has gone one step ahead and said, right to life is to live with dignity. So now, these 14 people who died, they had not entered any forest. There was no forest there. T1 had come out of Yavatmal and she was in human-dominated landscape. So what was the fault of these 14 people? Someone has to take the responsibility. Secondly, Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Section 11(2) is very clear that if any animal becomes dangerous to mankind, the Chief Wildlife Warden, by order in writing, cause such animal to be hunted. So the law position is very clear. The constitutional responsibility is very clear. And I and Asghar were very much in Maharashtra, 2015, 16, 17, 18. We conducted 22 training workshops for the forest department, for the frontline staff, for the veterinarians. We were very much there. So the point here is, why was order which was issued after 10 human kills issued after the second human kill? First kill, yes, it could have been a chance encounter, it could have been an accidental killing. But second, and then DNA recovered from the bodies confirmed that the saliva of T1 was found there. It was a female tigress. We had scientific evidence. So the Chief Wildlife Warden was under pressure from activists, under pressure from several people. His hands were tied. He didn't take the timely action which he was supposed to take as per law, of which he has got statutory power. He's got magistratal powers, the Chief Wildlife Warden. This was not done. And we would have had Shraddhanjali of 2 people. Now we are doing it for 14 people. And in spite of that, we have not learned any lesson. Gadcharoli, a tiger killed 17 people. And then it was trapped. First week of this month, there have been 5 killings back to back in Chandrapur. No shoot orders are issued. We have a very.
Why do you think so? I mean, who's responsible for this delay? Because what do you think so?
What has happened is the conservationists, the so-called activists, they have hijacked the system. Now the Chief Wildlife Warden is scared to pass any orders. They have penetrated deep into the system of the officers, and at the fall of a hat, they move courts. So all this, and NTCA also, I'm very sorry to say, National Tiger Conservation Authority, doesn't have a time frame in which a problem animal should be captured, should be caged, should be eliminated. There has to be a time frame to do this. We can't let a problematic tiger continue to kill people for 2.5 years like Avani did. This is not acceptable anywhere in the world. Recently, there was a wild boar which came near Houston in America. There was a school next door. The school authorities called the police. 2 officers came. They shot the wild boar. The municipal van came and took it away. The matter was over in 7 minutes.
The NGOs who are involved might also say that, okay, rather than killing, can't we tranquilize that particular animal? So that could also be a thing. Why do these operations fail? This tranquilizing operations, because at many places they're successful also.
True. You see, tiger basically is an elusive animal. It's a very shy animal, not like a lion. And we have a lot of limitations in tranquilizing. The tranquilizing dart is traveling very slow. It's traveling at 270 feet per second compared to a rifle bullet at 3,000 feet per second. So the range is very limited. We can't tranquilize beyond 25 meters. And then you should have a poster picture of a tiger without any grass or bush in the middle. Even a tweed of grass can deflect the dart. So all these problems in tranquilizing are there. You can't tranquilize at night because the tiger takes the dart. The induction period, that means the drug takes effect after 15 minutes. So 15 minutes is a long period for a tiger which has been darted. It can go anywhere and it's difficult to locate it. So as a thumb rule, we try to tranquilize them during daytime. And tigers being nocturnal, highly nocturnal, they don't show up during daytime at all. So all these physical problems are there, which people don't understand. And these delay the operations for years together.
Right, sir. I want to bring in Asghar Bhai on this one now. It's going to be 4 years for Avni's this thing. Can you take our viewers and our readers through that experience, that time, just that maybe half an hour leading up to when you actually, fired that bullet? What happened? What transpired? Can you just take us through, walk us through, right down to the last second?
Yes, sure, I'll do that. The operation, as my father was telling you, when we joined into it, it had already gone out of hand because the area where this tigress was moving, people had become volatile. They would abuse us, they would attack. We were working in that kind of atmosphere. And this 2.5 years period during which this tigress was attempted to be tranquilized, caged, all of that had made Avni extremely elusive and extremely alert. So one side we had these angry mobs, one side we had this elusive tigress which would attack cattle, goats, sheep, and humans. So we were stuck in that situation. And apart from that, there were continuous orders, coming from different sections, different parts of the forest teams, what is to be done, how it is to be handled. So basically, on site, there was a lot of confusion going on. There were repeated orders and cases being filed before the Nagpur bench, Bombay High Court, as well as before the Supreme Court. So on field, there was a lot of confusion. The forest department was totally stressed out. They were worried, with all these cases coming up. National Tiger Conservation Authority was giving continuous directives to the forest department. So there were too many people handling the situation, and the operation was not making any headway. So it was in this situation that we were working. So it was a very difficult situation. Anyway, we got into the operation after 14 people lost their lives. We re-strategized the whole operation. Wherever the sensitive areas were there, we drew out maps on the way the earlier killings had happened. We identified those locations and we made sure that there was enough patrolling happening there. Street lights were installed. People were made to sit on the village periphery, with crackers. If they would hear any alarm calls, they would burst crackers and all make the local people alert. The houses there, villages did not have toilets in their houses. So they used to go out. So that was another dangerous trend. So all those things we, re-strategized and took all possible precautions. The shepherds used to go out alone. We stopped that practice. We would give 1 or 2 labor with them so that the people don't go out alone into the fields. So
Right.
after we joined the operation, there was not a single human kill. The last 2 months that we worked there, not a single incident happened, though we had very close shaves. People got chased by the tigress, but still there was no death, no more human deaths after that. So anyway, this operation went on. We worked night and day. We would, I would work during the day. Dad would work during the night. We would do 24-hour patrolling, and all of that went on till 2nd of November, the day this incident happened. And on that particular day, there was a camera trap image of this tigress in a particular spot. The area is divided into compartments. So one of the compartments captured this tigress image. So the entire force was focused into that particular location. Veterinarians took their spots, on the best prominent possible locations where this tigress would cross. All of that went on during the day. And finally, in the evening, when the veterinarians were returning from that particular spot, they sprayed urine of an other tigress on the main road where this tigress was spotted. I mean, where this camera had captured her image. So the role of a tiger urine is extremely crucial between tigers. They mark their territories with that. One tiger doesn't get into another tiger's territory. So, otherwise they have a very fierce fight and it becomes very, one of them die. It's that kind of a situation. So this urine was sprayed on the main road by the veterinarians, and none of us were aware of that. And after that was done, they just moved away from the spot. No one was informed of this. And when we finished this day's patrol in that area and returned to the base camp, we started getting calls from the people who were passing on that road. We were receiving calls that this tigress is sighted, it's aggressive, it's running behind bikes and all of that. So kind of an emergency situation erupted in that area. The tigress, which was known for being elusive till now, had become aggressive and was on that road where this urine was sprayed. Then we went into that area, and it was a 1.5 kilometer patch where this forest was there. We escorted several people out of it. I had no police support. There were no forest officers. I was given a rapid action team in the order by which we were called. The rapid action team was supposed to escort me. That was missing. I, along with 4 more forest guards and a forester, were doing all this work with the tigress in the bushes, aggressive tigress, and we escorted several people because that particular day of 2nd November was a bazaar day on the neighboring village. So all the people of that area were returning back home in the evening. So we had to escort many of these people back through that little patch of forest. Finally, this went on. Then we returned back to our camp for dinner. But again, we got a call that again another person has been chased by this Avni. So when we returned back to that was a 9-kilometer drive from our base camp. So we returned back to the area, and then this tigress came out in front of our vehicle. Our forester darted her, and with that she became aggressive because the needle, it's a long needle which gets into its body, and then it turned and charged at us. So I had no option. I fired at her, and that's how it ended. In totally unexpected, and it was a very sad ending we had, because that is not what we had thought of. We had always tried to capture her and save her. So because of the situation, it was all ended. Everything went out of hand at the last moment.
In this last sentence that you said, so I want to bring in Shapat Saab on this one. What Asghar Bhai said, that it was a sad ending. Like I didn't want it to happen that way. Now also, in your involvement with this field for so many decades, so you obviously have had other kills as well. So does that same thought stay with you, or is it like we need to eliminate this problem tiger or tigress or is it more to capture? I mean, what is the priority? What?
You see, as a conservationist, and in today's scenario, it's I personally feel that we should try and capture these animals. I have captured a tigress. Asghar and I, we captured a tigress in Brahmapuri, which had killed 5 people. I have captured rogue elephants in Bihar and other places. So it gives me far more satisfaction if we can save an animal. But you see, when situations go out of hand, now in that spur of a moment, if Asghar had not fired, the tigress was hardly 6 feet from their open vehicle, and she was darted. There was a 3-inch long needle in her thigh. She had lunged towards their open vehicle, and in a fraction of a second, she would have jumped in, and we would have had 2, 3 more casualties. So, in situations like this, why we succeed, I will tell you the secret of our success. So many operations we have successfully conducted because even on a tranquilizing order, the chief wildlife warden writes that the team shall have protection of 11.2 of the Act. 11.2 of Wildlife Protection Act is killing or wounding of any animal in good faith is not an offense. So once our teams have this protection, then we have our weapons ready. You see, what people don't understand is physically, there is no comparison between a tiger and a man, between a leopard and a man, between an elephant and a man. It's the weapon and the firepower which gives us that extra courage to play the ball hard and track a man-eating tiger. Now, recently we were in Bihar in Valmiki Tiger Reserve in a tiger operation. The tiger was taking the kills in sugarcane. And we recovered 3 bodies. Asghar and I recovered 3 bodies because we had our weapons. How do you expect a veterinarian or a forest officer to go into grass or lantana or bush where visibility is 3 feet, where the tiger is there feeding on the kill, and recover it? It's impossible. So that is how we work in those circumstances. We are taking our lives in our hands. And since we are empowered by law, we take that split-second decision. If Avani had turned around and gone into the forest, you see, she was darted. Post-mortem report said medicine was injected. It had traveled deep in the muscle. Ketamine and xylazine was found in the body. If Avani had turned around, if she was not aggressive that evening, if she was normal, if she had turned around and gone on the other side, the operation would have been successful.
Got it.
But since she chose to attack,
Hmm.
she had to be eliminated.
Hmm.
And she was eliminated painlessly. If you see the record of tigers that are shot in the country, in Pombhurna, Maharashtra, a tiger was shot, 37 bullets were shot, fired. In Gudalur in Tamil Nadu, a tiger was shot by the police. They surrounded the tiger, and in crossfiring, 2 policemen got injured in bullets. So when a professional using a right rifle is involved in an operation, death is painless. It's like a bulb going off on a proper place shot. And the other flip side of it is, what do you do with a man-eater? Even assuming it's captured alive. Gorewada National Park in Nagpur is full now. No zoo wants tigers in our country. Maharashtra, which had 100 tigers in 2005, has got 400 tigers. Where is the place for them? Let us not be sentimental, but a tiger needs to kill once a week. It kills 52 times in a year. Who's given us a right to produce tigers and not have anything for them to eat? Yes, we all love tigers. Keep them in the parks. There is no shortage of funds. Campa, Compensatory Afforestment Management Fund, Government of India is sitting on 40,000 crores. So what I would say is, let us fence our parks. Tadoba, Pench, Tippeshwara. Fence it.
This is interesting because I wanted to, as I come to the end of the interview, I wanted to get these point from you. This man-animal conflict. One thing we know for sure: human population will keep on increasing. In fact, booming because of the medical facilities that we have. So we are going to boom. Our species is going to boom, and that means that we are going to go into somebody's area, or somebody will come into our area, and this conflict will happen. Be it tiger, be it elephants, or whatever. What do you, because what you said that you are a conservationist first, that is what you are. So what do you suggest? I mean, how do we end this conflict, or is it even possible to end this conflict?
It's very much possible, and the only common sense solution that I see is we have to compartmentalize our wildlife and human beings. Supposing Tadoba is 600 square kilometers, we should acquire lands around and make it 1200 square kilometers and have a 18 feet chain link fence around it. Today, 35 to 40% of the tigers in our country are outside the parks. They are in human landscape. Now, India is an overpopulated country. The moment a tiger is outside the forest, it is in direct confrontation with man. And man is doing his agriculture. We surely can't have 2,000 tigers in human dominated landscape. So Government of India and the national think tanks will have to, in the long run, evolve a system wherein all wildlife has to be caught and put inside the parks. You make arrangements for them to eat. That is also very simple. Now, I have been culling blue bull and wild boar in 9 states of the country. Gujarat, Rajasthan, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh have lakhs of blue bull, which are ravaging crops. So we should have a system where we capture those antelopes and leave them in the tiger enclosures inside the park and feed the tigers. Even then, one has to decide, okay, what is the final line? How many tigers can we have? As I see today, as I told you, in 2005, there were 100 tigers in Maharashtra. Today, we have 400. In 2027, there'll be 1,000 tigers in Maharashtra. And the human population will also go up by 30%. So what we are going to do after 7 years, let's do it today. Let's save the tigers as well as the human beings. It's no rocket science. The equation is very clear. In an overpopulated country like India, you cannot have tigers crawling in human landscapes, in hospitals, schools, crossing the expressways. A hungry tiger is a dangerous animal. And a tiger which has come out of the park is not a normal tiger because it is hungry. I'm talking to you in this tone because I have had a full dinner and I'm sitting before you. If you keep me hungry the whole day, then my tone and my body language will change. The same thing happens with tigers. They have the same feelings. They feel hungry. Tiger needs to hunt once a week. So a tiger which is in Yavatmal, what is it going to feed on? Those 45 days that we were there, the whole night I used to drive with searchlights. I saw 4 spotted deer and 3 wild boar in those 43 days. Now, what are those tigers going to? There is zero prey base for them. The entire system has gone haywire. Let us fence our parks. Let us tranquilize all the tigers and leopards which are outside and leave them in. Give them substantial food. That is the only solution that will work, that government will have to do either today or 5 years from now.
Right, sir. Absolutely. I mean, it's something that we really need to think about, regardless of which side of the fence we sit on, ideologically or philosophically on this one. But we really need to have a forward-looking plan here. To wrap this up,
I would interview 1 minute. I would like to tell you,
sir.
There are 7 tigers within the municipal limit of Chandrapur today. In the thermal super plant, there are tigers. There are 12 tigers around Bhopal city, the capital of Madhya Pradesh. Now, cities have grown. Chandrapur has got 20 lakh human population. How do you expect tigers to coexist with people? It's absurd, defies logic to me. We are sitting on a time bomb. And let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, the poor Indians, the tribals, Adivasis, they are very, very tolerant people. They have got unlimited patience. Nowhere in the world, even in the remotest part of Africa where I have gone, hunted, worked, learned tranquilizing, people will not tolerate a lion becoming a man-eater. Here, we have lost 100 people. Back to back, there have been 5 human killings in 5 days. And our people are tolerant. They are taking all this with a pinch of salt. How long will they do it? When one earning member of a family dies, what happens to that family? By throwing 3 lakh compensation, is that father, mother, son going to come back? Let us go into their shoes and see, why have the people of Yavatmal called us? Why haven't they called the Secretary of National Tiger Conservation Authority? What were they doing? Why haven't they called the Kathina of forest officers that headed this operation? They have seen what we did at ground level. That's the love, the affection we had. What was Jim Corbett? Was he a forest officer? Today we have the largest national park named after him. So this is what it is. We have delivered at ground zero. And I'm so happy that people still remember and call us. That is the biggest satisfaction. And tears in their eyes will camouflage and eclipse all that NGOs and court cases damage us. When I see those faces and when I hug them and those tears, that supersedes all that happens to me behind the curtains.
I just want to get one last word from both of you. You know that obviously there are so many allegations against you that you've all heard. Anything that, I'll start with Asghar Bhai on this one. Anything that you would like to say to counter to people who say that, okay, you know, they enjoy shooting tigers or they enjoy the hunting part, that these two are not conservationists. So when these kind of allegations come, so I'll start with Asghar Bhai. I mean, how do you respond to such allegations? What do you tell them?
As I told you, our objectives are different. But anyway, just to give a message to the people, I would say, if you actually are interested to know what we do, I'll give you a lot of insight into that. The number of animals that were ordered to be shot, we have captured them. The rogue elephants that had entered human habitation, we have rescued them and brought them safely to the zoo. The Patna Zoo is an example of that. We have a beautiful elephant there, which we have saved from angry mobs and brought it safely. Thermal power plant in Chandrapur, we have rescued 2 sloth bears from human habitation and safely released them. We have done umpteen number of workshops for the forest department, how to handle a rescue operation, how to handle a dangerous situation, what clothes to wear, how to track a problematic animal, how to control the mobs. We have done this, every state we have done this work. So if you actually want to know what our objective is, what we have been doing it, I will put this up on social media, our work, though that is not our objective. I'm not here to give an explanation, but if you actually want to know what way we are involved in rescue, one tiger that we have shot in an emergency situation, if you just highlight that, that is not the whole thing. There is something totally different that we have been doing till now. I will give it out to all the people who would like to know about us, what we actually do.
Right. Shabad Sahab, from you, I have just one last question. 50 years from now, probably 100 years from now, what would you like to be remembered as? I mean, there are people who would like to remember you as something else, but what you would like to be remembered as?
As a conservationist, as a person who could work to improve our wildlife, our forests, and at the same time, save the downtrodden from dangerous animals.
To both of you, thank you very much for joining us. I mean, I know that once people watch this, there will be reactions from both sides, and as I said, it will be extreme, either love or hate. I don't think we'll be seeing any comments which are neutral for sure. But still, that is the way it should be in a democracy. We should discuss both sides. Everyone should have a say, and then hopefully we find a middle path. So I thank both of you once again for joining us and sharing your views and taking all the negative comments from my side also, because I have to be the devil's advocate. I have to put up questions on behalf of people who aren't here in your stride as well. So thank you very much once again.
Just one
Thank you
last
very much.
thing I would like to bring in.
Yes, please.
I would like to give a message to the government of India and the forest authorities that we are the people who have worked at ground zero in an umpteen number of rescue operations, and we have a lot of suggestions which would reduce the conflict, and we are ready and willing to come forward and give our views in the interest of wildlife and to improve the wildlife management of the country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to both of you once again, and wish you a very good night as well. Bye.
Thank you so much. God bless. Bye-bye.